You're tuned in to the NNW podcast. Fresh takes, big energy, no nonsense. Let's get into it.
Hey, stop for a second. Are you a heating and air business owner that may be looking to sell or may be looking to sell in the near future and you don't know where to start? Well, you're in luck. Our friends Patrick and Josh Lang over at Business Modification Group want to help you. They want to help you evaluate your company and get you positioned to sell. So reach out to them at 850-669-2498 to help through this process with you. And as always, we're never not working. Now back to the show. Hello again, and welcome to the Never Not Working podcast. I'm your host, Will Basko, and today is my great pleasure to have a good friend of mine that I've known for a long time, Theo Stathakis with Mingledorff. Tricky last name, so I hope I got it right, Theo.
You did. You nailed it.
Okay, perfect. So, man, thanks for your time today. If this is your first time watching any of our episodes, remember this is nothing more than connections. So I want to connect people with Theo and Mingledorff and also with Never Not Working and Will Basko. But, man, I just want to take time out of your busy schedule. It is very important to me. So we're going to jump right into this and talk about things that we talk about on this show, man. And it's literally nothing but more than just connecting people to you, to personally and professionally. So tell us a little bit about Theo. I know you're the marketing manager over there at Mingledorff. You've been there probably almost 15 years. So been there a long time, seen a lot of things. So just tell us a little bit about Theo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first of all, thanks for having me and, thank the friendship and everything. Known each other a while and we go back a good bit. So I'm happy to be on here and I appreciate you doing so well with my last name. That's a good one. Like I said, you did one of the better ones that I've heard. So you're good. So a little bit about me. So, like a lot of people in our industry, I grew up with a father in the trade. So, starting back in probably my high school days, maybe even a little bit before that, summer times, when I wasn't out playing baseball or anything, I was riding along with my dad in a truck. He's been a carrier dealer. Actually, it's going to be 40 years coming up here soon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so he's been in the business for a long time and he's right here out of Decatur, Georgia, and really got started by riding with him and just kind of going around. And, when I was younger, I was carrying the tool bag and, he'd say, hey, give me that nut driver. I'd be like, what's a nut driver? But learning those things slowly, surely, in high school, when everybody was out going on summer vacations, we had our vacations, but when I wasn't on vacation or doing sports or anything, I was riding in the truck with him. And, it was great. I really got to learn the industry from very early on and kind of what he had to do and, how the business was run. Even throughout college in the summer times, I had little odds and end jobs throughout college. I worked at a sports store in the mall. I did Christmas tree lot sales. And in the summertime, I would go to work with my dad and I'd be driving around, but at that point I'd be driving around a truck and I'd be his little gopher. I'd be running around supply houses and picking up whatever he needs at a job site and then just kind of falling around. And, eventually I started riding in trucks with some of the other guys, the service techs that he had with him, learning a little bit more, getting a lot more hands-on, getting refrigerant burns on my hands like everybody else does.
Yeah.
That's kind of your initiation and how things go when you're learning the industry. Eventually getting to the point where we're doing PMs, being able to check on systems and doing those little things, helping him out. So I was doing that throughout my college, graduated in 2010 and got to work for a year with the Atlanta Braves, which is cool, doing some marketing for them.
Awesome. Where did you graduate from? Was that Tech?
Oglethorpe University.
Okay, I thought you went to Georgia Tech for some reason. Okay.
No, I am a Georgia Tech fan, but I went to Oglethorpe University. Actually, I had the opportunity to play baseball there.
Okay.
For a little while. And had some injuries and ended up having to, retire, at a young age, and graduated and then got to work for the Braves for a year. But at that time, the job prospects for somebody coming right out of college was not good. That was kind of after the downturn, the housing market and all that stuff, 2007, 2008. And it was tough. And I didn't really have a lot of luck after getting that year interning with the Braves to really find anything. And so I kind of just leaned on some relationships that I had built a little bit while I was with working for my dad, and my dad had built some relationships. And I had gotten to know Jeff Vetter here at Mingledorff. He was the store manager at the Norcross store.
Yeah.
And kind of went into his office one day, probably, not dressed how I probably should have been. I was in sweatpants and a hat and everything, just like any college kid at that time. And, I walked in the office and, sat down with Jeff and kind of talked through him a little bit. And I guess he liked me a little bit because he hired me on, and I went straight into the warehouse. So, I had to swallow my pride a little bit. A lot of my friends at that time were jumping in and getting jobs, right after having a college degree. And I, had to go in and work in the warehouse. But, that was something that I would never trade and experience that experience for anything, because I really, truly learned, how things worked from the ground up here at Mingledorff. So,
100%, because I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You don't realize what you don't know until you don't know it. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you get to realize, all those things that somebody in the warehouse has got to deal with. And, I even look back at, working with my dad a little bit, that what you were as a grunt, working as a tech and getting in crawl spaces, I'll never forget there was a lot of times when my dad was taking me around, I had to be the guy that was getting in those dirty, nasty crawl spaces to do all the stuff for him. He'd look at the crawl space door and he'd say, there you go.
Congratulations.
Ran into a lot of fun things down there. And, at that time I was like, I'm never going to get in the HVAC industry. I don't want to do anything like this. And
I hate this.
Yeah. And just like anybody that age would want, it's like, I want to sit at a desk all day and, do work and big, guy stuff. But
yeah.
I learned quickly that, at Mingledorff, that this is, a great place to be in, a great industry to be in. So, spent a little time in the warehouse and did well enough at working in the warehouse, as a kid that had never driven a forklift before in my life. I remember, the first few days getting in there and then putting me on a forklift. I'm sitting here and the wheels are turning from the back and I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? Thinking about dropping stuff and all that. And, it was a great experience, and ended up moving up to going to the counter for a little bit. And, I'm thankful for Jeff Vedder for, that opportunity. And, he's a TM here now, and we still talk all the time. And, he still threatens. He's like, I brought you into this company, I can take you out.
Yeah. I still like Vedder. I know.
But Vedder, he's awesome. I'm super thankful for that. And then at that time when I had moved up to the counter, Robert Waters, who was the Lawrenceville store manager, ended up moving into Norcross, and he, became my store manager, working on the counter for a little while, and learned ton. You basically going on as a counter guy like that, you become a sponge, because you're thrown into it. Like I worked in with my dad's business for a long time, but it's a different level once you start handling all those parts and things that you see that were already attached to a unit. You're sitting, you're looking at them and you're like, hey, what is this thing? How does this thing get, put on?
And on your side, they're in boxes, so you don't even know what the box looks like.
Exactly. Yeah. And luckily enough, while I was actually kind of when the tail end of me working in the warehouse and starting on the counter, I was handling all the warranties for everybody. So I truly got to see every single part, all those warranty returns coming in, if something was wrong with them, what the deal with it was. Processing warranties, I truly got to learn a lot more about, the product that way, and actually seeing things out of the box. So
yeah,
that was super beneficial. So spent a few years on the counter, just like, any young, impatient person. I was really wanting to move into sales really quickly. And while I was in the counter, I was getting my master's at night. So I was working a full day, 7, 4, or 5 o'clock. And then I'd go straight to Mercer down the street here. And I'd go for 4 hours of class, 3 or 4 days a week, and getting my master's. And an opportunity came up from a professor that said, I've got this guy that's hiring somebody that does, marketing stuff, and would you be interested in it? And, I weighed that for a long time. It was tough, and I decided to take, I call it my brief sabbatical from Mingledorff. And went and worked for another company, and truly realized that the grass is not greener, like you always say. I couldn't replace the people and the atmosphere and the culture that Mingledorff had, and came begging back. Luckily, I had left on good terms with Mingledorff, and made a phone call, and David Kesterton graciously accepted my begging to come back. And at the time, one of those outside sales opportunities came available. So I was lucky enough to be hired back at Mingledorff after it was like 6 months that I was gone. I was lucky enough to get back into it, and got into, at the time, it was called the BSR branch sales representative role. So it was kind of like a development role into the TMs. And Spent about a year and a half doing that. And, that was just another really great experience for me because, while I didn't, I was really out and calling on customers for only maybe about 6 months at the time. But the training that I got to do for the sales side of things was something that I really, really am thankful that I got to do. I did TMU, which is a carrier territory manager university training. So I got to go to Indy and a few other places where they had hands-on live training for TMs and spend a few weeks doing that. And that was super, super beneficial to me and my career and what I do now. Cause I truly got to learn. I never sold anything really that before that. So I really got to dive deep into what it was to be a territory manager and selling and things like that. And then once that time had finished, they really like to take you and put you in different departments around here at Mingledorff. So you get a really good, well-rounded experience and knowledge for everything. So I spent a good bit of time in our commercial department, and I was, looking at plans and quoting jobs and, doing all that on the commercial side, and then spent time with our commercial controls group. So, learning with controls, got to do site visits, go out there and see what that side of the business is all about. And then our Holden Associates division as well. I got to sit there and learn about air distribution and all that stuff. I spent time doing that, and I truly got a very well-rounded experience with all of that. So right around that time, spent, like I said, spent about 6 months outside and actually calling on customers, and an opportunity came open for the marketing manager. So it was actually something that I had my eye on for a long time, even while I was still on the counter.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a knack for a lot of the marketing and the different aspects of marketing for our business and things that we could do to help our customers. And, it's not just sales and promotions and things like that. There's a lot of other things that we do for our customers that I was very interested in, and I got very lucky, and opportunity came open. And I was, sorry, trying to think back to that time a little bit, but I was lucky enough to get an interview with Rick Center, who is the general manager of our Gulf Coast district, who had a very strong marketing background and was kind of the director of marketing at the time. And, he took a chance on a very green marketing employee. At the time it was just him, myself, and a graphic designer on the team. And I was very green. I had a lot of thoughts and ideas, but I quickly realized that, there's a lot more to it that I didn't know. Being a salesperson and doing all that before, I didn't realize how much Excel you had to do when you're in the marketing department. And Rick, took a chance on me and taught me a lot, and still is teaching me a lot to this day. And I've kind of jumped into this role, and that was 2015 that I jumped into that role, and took our marketing team from about the 3 people that it was to it's almost, I want to say, 9 people now, but worked very closely with, all departments around our company. As we handle the dealer meeting that we do each year for our customers. We bring in
The Super Bowl of dealer meetings. He always talks about dealer meetings. Mingledorff does it well. Good job. So.
Thank you. Yeah. We like to call it our Apple keynote a lot of times. A big trade show. So, that's something that's going on right now. And a lot of that planning is happening now too. But, really getting into learning what we provide for dealers, as a counter person, you don't necessarily see all these things that happen. And Rick, I remember Rick, when I first started the job, handed me what we call a marketing guide and put it down in front of me. And I was like flipping through this, and I'm like, man, didn't know about any of this stuff. And it kind of, helped me realize that I was like, one, I know that we provide a lot for our customers, but, we got to communicate this down to a lot more people in our company too, because if counter guys don't necessarily know about it, they're the front lines. And if they don't know about these things, if they don't know about these things, then, they can't talk to a customer about it. They can't find a solution. If a customer is trying to figure out, hey, I need a proposal software, I can't figure anything out. I need some help with this. TMs are going to be the ones that help with that a lot, but the counter guys are going to be out there too talking about it. So, I realized how important that was to do that. So I've really been working hard to, grow our programs, create new programs that are valuable for our dealers. We got our factory authorized dealers. We've got different programs from dealers that are, just starting out, a new guy, a technician that's spinning off, from working as a tech for 10 years and wanting to, do his own thing and start his own business. You can work as a tech for 10 years, but, there's a lot of things that we provide that can help out somebody that's brand new. And we say, we can take you from, we call it a standard level to a partner level to, a factory authorized dealer level. And there's a ton of things that, we can provide those guys. And having come from my dad's smaller company, realizing that we can help. And I've even helped him a little bit with things, growing over time. He's been in it 40 years, but I still had some things that I could help him with.
And isn't that it's so fun because I've seen it firsthand where Mingledorff. I mean, I spent 15 years at Mingledorff myself, so I saw it firsthand where you took a guy that literally was right out of a service truck that knew nothing about business, knew nothing, barely could get a business license, didn't know it, and then Mingledorff's come in and partnered with them and just helped them grow substantially. I mean, I know a guy over in East Alabama. No, yeah, East Alabama that you guys did that for, and he's a phenomenal person. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but
I know
uh,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember sitting in a lunch meeting one day, and he's like, "Well, I just don't know if I can leave this job that I got." And I'm like, "Man, you got to take that risk. You got a good partner in Mingledorff, and you guys have." And now every time I see him, I say, "Remember that lunch we had?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." He's got 70 employees now, so really good, really good, really good thing. So let me ask you this: in your time as a store, as your ISP counter guy, didn't that seem like it benefited you from in the roles down the road because now you know from front to back, you knew where the boxes were to now, hey, let me help you with field management software or, quoting software or whatever. So it's pretty cool. I didn't know that story, Theo. I didn't know that you had started in the warehouse, kind of like myself. So our stories line up a little bit. So, but it's cool to see how you matriculated down the road there because now when somebody fusses about the heat in the warehouse, it's not just a corporate guy in the office. It's, hey man, I've done it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. At the time being a younger, impatient guy that, wanted to move up and, do things quickly in the world.
Yep.
With age, I've learned to become patient. But, back then I was like, "God, when am I gonna be able to do the next big thing? I want to do the next big thing." And,
Yeah.
I look back at it now and I was like, you know what? That was an experience that not a lot of people say that they can have. I encourage, and I still go out to the warehouse today and, I talk with some of those guys and, we have a lot of great programs here at Mingledorff where we, try and build up, because we, want to build those guys up because they're, the next group that's going to come up through it, with
Sure.
just how it works here at Mingledorff. And I'm sure other supply houses are the same way, but, Mingledorff is very, very, it's very important to Mingledorff that you get a good ground up, uh, knowledge and experience at the company, I've seen even, the Mingledorff boys, they had to do the same thing. There's everybody doesn't jump into, a job where you can sit in an office or a desk for a little while. You gotta take your lumps and, learn before you can actually get into something. But again, I would never trade that experience for anything in the world because it made me who I am today. And I'm better for it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And the tenure there at Mingledorff's is like crazy because I mean, I see stuff on LinkedIn like so and so has been here 47 years. What in the world did you when you were 12?
Yeah, yeah. And, that's, it's a testament to the company too and the culture that they built here that, people that come to work here, they want to stick around for a long time. They want to be part of this for a long time. And I've told people that, I've told my wife, I've told other people that I know, I was like, I see those people that are getting these, 25, 30, 35, 40-year recognitions. And I was like, I want to be one of those people.
Sure.
I want to be able to have a great career here, help grow things and build the company and grow like, we've seen over the past few years and really and your career here and be able to help dealers along the entire way and make great friends and our team is we spend more time with each other than sometimes our own family so it's something that you don't want to take for granted and like I said before I took it for granted for a little bit when with my sabbatical and I realized how important the people are and the culture around you is and I'm thankful for it every day.
stories line up the same way because I left for 2 years and came back.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always fun to find that the grass is greener on the other side because it's on top of a septic tank,
Exactly.
And even to Mingledorff's story and what they do, family oriented. Every event I go to, there's people that have been retired for years still show up and still hang out and still are involved in the Mingledorff's footprint, to a point because they just enjoyed that lifetime at Mingledorff so long.
Yeah.
So
And, we see it all the time. They're always coming back to visit. But we've got something here that it's called the Quarter Century Club. So anybody that was, 25 plus years, every year they kind of have an event and they get together and they see each other. And, they get to talk and reminisce on old times. And, sometimes we see them pop up at the dealer meeting too. It's just, it's cool to see all those people that you got to work with that you knew they had that long tenure. And it's a good aspirational goal to have as an employee here too.
yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, you've done a lot in your 15 years at Mingledorff for sure. I know that I want to say this right. You won or you were awarded the 40 under 40 for a
Mhm.
little while ago. I mean, which is a phenomenal feat. You are married. You have 2 children now. Is that correct?
Have one, and the second is on the way. We
On the
got a
way.
boy
Okay.
due in April.
Awesome. Congratulations. So how's dad life been in this whole marketing world of trying to do both? It's a little bit trickier, right?
It really is. It's just one of those things that people can tell you 100 times before you've experienced it, that you don't know what it is until you're in it. That's 100% the case. Your days look a whole lot different and priorities are a whole lot different in life and in work and things like that. And, you got to really, truly learn how to balance a lot of those things. But I'm so thankful I got married while I was in this role. And, we had our little daughter, Georgie, who just turned 2. And, she's been amazing and it taught me a lot. As any parent out there would know, they teach you everything. They teach you how to be
Yeah.
a better person. And, she truly has done that, and it's been amazing. And I'm so thankful for her. And I'm thankful that when I, get to leave here for the day, I get to go home and, she'll be there waiting at the door, ready to run in my arms. And, that's brings a different level of energy after a
Yeah.
long day at work. You get home, you think your batteries are drained, but then the second you see a little one running up at you, it's just like batteries charge back up and you get to be dad for the rest of the night.
Yeah, cherish those times, man, because they go by so fast, so
Yep.
fast. So, questions for you on the marketing side of Mingledorff. Who would you want to connect with on the market? I mean, if somebody's watching this and let's say they're a heat and air contractor or even a vendor like myself with the Good League thing, who are you looking for out there?
I mean, really, it's anybody who wants to grow in the HVAC business, whether it's a vendor, a dealer, contractor, anybody that's got a passion for it and wants to learn a little bit about marketing. I'm more than happy to sit down with anybody and talk through it. We've got a lot of great partners that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and introducing them, basically helping somebody with their needs. If they've got a question about something, that's where I truly find a lot of passion in my job. Is uh, they come to us with a problem, and there's a majority of the programs here at Mingledorff we can fix those problems. Whether it's within the marketing department or others. We got Gary Turner in the business development group that, they can truly sit down in a customer's business and show that, look at their books and help them with their proposal software and help them with retail sales training and how to use the phones and things like that, to where truly somebody who was a technician for 10 years and doesn't have that experience or knowledge, we can help them with those steps to get them to becoming, the dealer that they want to be. So those are the people that I want to meet. I want to, talk with them and help them out because, as they say, a rising tide lifts all ships. So, as long as we're raising the industry together, at helping everybody grow, and, selling more systems or, change out things like that, I want to be able to do that and help somebody make a living too. We always talk about, well, the last thing we want is our customers to be up at night worrying about a problem. And,
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out how they make their payroll or how they, can support their families, things like that things that keep them up at night. We want to help them avoid that. Our mantra is we equip HVAC professionals to succeed. Equip is the word. We have equipment, right? Like that's, what we do.
Yeah.
We got parts, supplies, everything that they need. but it's more than just equipment. It's all of the programs and the different tools that we provide that can truly help them grow and help them make a living, make them happier in their lives. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's who I want to.
Perfect, man, because you guys do a phenomenal job with that. I'm telling you, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I've seen it firsthand. I've been going there for a long time, but still, you guys are a big player in the Southeast market. Even like when I go everywhere, they're like, "Hey, have you shown this to good to Mingledorff?" So you're well known out there. You do a phenomenal job for your contractors, by your contractors, and help them grow. So with this, I always add a I know a guy segment. So this is my I know a guy segment. And that can be just anybody, personally, professionally. I know Tucker Green. He was on here with me and he wants to meet the president of the United States. I couldn't help him there. I don't know. They say I know a lot of people, but I don't have him on my Rolodex.
Right.
But the person that I want to know if who you want to connect with is the person that I need a guy. I need a guy that does this. If it's Atlanta United tickets that I know you're a huge fan of, or Georgia Tech tickets that are probably really easy to get because they're so bad. But
You had to throw that dig in there. I get it at home. I didn't need to get it here on the podcast.
I got to. I had a Florida Gator fan on here on my first episode, Patrick, that I know you know. So personally, who would you want to meet out there? I mean, anybody out there that you need to
My personal one is also a work one too. I don't want to
nothing wrong with that.
throw it all together. And I don't know if you got the connections to make this happen, but it's Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is somebody that I've always admired, especially he starts with dirty jobs and
Yeah.
everything that he's done for the trades. I know that it's super difficult, and I hear it with my dad all the time, and I hear it with every single one of our customers all the time. It's trying to find good people to hire. And in this world, being a father now, kind of thinking about things on how raise the kids and how to educate them and things like that down the road. I truly want to see the trades flourish, and I want to see more people in the trades because I think it's super important. Me having gone through college and getting my master's, I see how important it is for also the trades, the education in the trades. And I know everything that he does for education in the trades. And he's super prominent in that space. And just overall, I think, he'd be a cool guy to meet, but at the same time, being able to talk with him and kind of see how he could help us help our customers too, help them, find the right people to join their companies and be the, best service tech installer, whoever it might be out there. I would truly love to meet Mike Rowe. We've had conversations within our marketing team about getting him to, try and come to the dealer meeting and, maybe get on our podcast, Caffeine and Coils, not to plug our podcast. Yeah, Jenny and Deanna do a great job with that. So if you haven't heard it,
I've been begging to get on there, so hopefully
you have.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll put a word in for you.
And again, I'm not too proud to beg, so I will throw this little snippet out on LinkedIn and
There you go.
and make Mike Rose say no. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal one because again, that is a good personal and professional pick right there because he does seem just like the most genuine guy to hang out with.
Sure. You could sit down and have a beer with him, and it'd be, fun conversation for a few hours, and get to hear his experiences, and he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah. So what's upcoming for Mingledorff? Growth? Anything that you can share with?
Hopefully growth. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys expanding anytime soon? Or I know that you guys have a big footprint in the Southeast. So
yeah, we got 41 locations. Nothing on the horizon currently. We're really focused on it because we've got such an expansive footprint and 41 locations throughout the Southeast. We cover a lot of major markets.
yeah.
So not necessarily anything like that in the future, but really trying to grow our business. And we're at the tail end of 410A. Our 450 boy is coming, and well, it's here, but it's truly closing down on 410A at the end of this year. So, there's a lot of that to come. But, the big thing for us on the marketing side is the dealer meeting. We've talked about it enough. That's coming up in March in Savannah this year. And it's a big undertaking. We're full-fledged on planning right now. But
do you want to throw those dates out for anybody watching?
Yeah, March 10th, Savannah, Georgia. If talk to your Mingledorff TM, and they can get you an invite for it. But yeah, we're super excited. It's a little bit different format this year. You guys won't be as affected as much by it, but we went from kind of a half day, one day, and then ending on another half day. The second day, it's going to be kind of a full day thing this time around. We're ending on a high note with the trade show, and hopefully some fun that night and everything. We always pull out the stops. We do something cool at the end of the trade show. So that's the big thing. I mean, especially, this time of the year, uh, the registration's opening up this week. So it's going to be, it's a big undertaking. It's fun, but our whole team works on it. And it's one of those things that when, we're in it, we're like, oh, it's going to be a lot, dealer meeting, stress, everything. But then when we don't have it, we skipped some years on it. We're like, dang, I really missed a dealer meeting, and I know y'all do too. Y'all have a great time with it and everybody enjoys it. So.
Yeah, we really enjoy it, man. So, well, man, thank you for your time. Again, anybody out there looking for a good partnership for your heating and air contractor, for a distributor, Mingledorff's would be a good one for you. Just reach out to them. But man, Theo, thank you for your friendship for a long time. I know that I've beaten you up with some crazy things in the past. Hey, can I do this? You're like, well, no, you can't do that.
I guess somebody's gonna reel you in with.
Exactly, somebody does. But I appreciate your friendship more than you know, and I appreciate your time today. And from Will and Theo, we are Will Basko with Never Not Working, and Theo with Mingledorff's. And as always, we're never not working.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for having me.